Good evening. Welcome to World News. I am Jessica Magaji Joseph. First, the headlines. FEC raises committee to reassess Allow Dam, others. UN voices concern about report of RSF assault on El Fasher, urges ceasefire across Sudan. Russia declines to support UN's pact for the future. China's foreign minister calls on world powers to work together to tackle global challenges. And on sport, Nigeria reached under-19 Cricket World Cup qualifiers semis. And now the news in detail. The Federal Executive Council has approved the setting up of a committee to reassess the integrity of the Allow Dam and other dams across the country. FEC also approved the establishment of a disaster relief fund with members from government and the organized private sector that will put together resources to combat future disasters in the country. These approvals were disclosed yesterday by the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Osef, as well as the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, after the Federal Cabinet meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The move followed the devastation caused by the flood in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, and other parts of the country. Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja has recused herself from the trial of the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, in the terrorism charges brought against him by the federal government. The judge on Tuesday opted out of the trial following the outburst of Kanu that he had no confidence and trust in the judge. In the middle of Tuesday's proceedings, Kanu had jumped up from the dock and ordered his lawyer, Aloy Ejimako, to sit down for him to address the court. In the uproar that ensued, Kanu took over the proceedings, announced that he no longer had confidence in Justice Binta Nyako, and demanded that she rescued himself immediately. Although the federal government lawyer Adeboyega Awomolo objected to Kanu's request, the judge insisted on recusing herself. Awomolo had argued that the order to open the trial was in line with a Supreme Court judgment. Justice Binta Nyako said she would prefer another judge to handle the trial. The judge subsequently recused herself and ordered that the case file be returned to the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, John Soho, for reassignment to another judge. Meanwhile, Kanu has been returned to the DSS custody. The governor of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, has approved a reduction in the number of days public servants are required to work each week in a bid to lessen their transportation costs. The governor also announced an extension of palliative payment to public servants for the next 2 months. A statement issued by the governor's spokesperson, Olawale Rashid, and obtained in Osogbo on Tuesday, indicated that the approval was outlined in a circular from the Office of the Head of Service. The statement added that the decision aligns with Adeleke's commitment to the well-being of workers and is a response to the current economic situation in the country. When we return, news from other parts of Africa. Please stay with us.
This is Hillstv. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Hillstv, Polka.
Welcome back. With less than 2 months remaining before Senegal's early legislative election on November 17th, political parties are preparing for battle. They have just 4 days left to submit their candidate list for validation by the Ministry of the Interior. As new coalitions take shape, the country's political landscape is undergoing significant changes. One of the most notable developments is the formation of a new coalition called the Bloc of Liberals and Democrats The alliance includes 40 political parties, notably the Alliance for the Republic of former President Macky Sall and Remy, led by former Prime Minister Idrissa Seck. This coalition comes as rumors intensify about a possible dissolution of the National Assembly and early legislative elections. According to his spokesperson, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is gravely alarmed by reports of a full-scale assault by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces on the city of El Fasher. He has called on the leader of the RSF, Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, to order an end to the attack. Guterres also warned that any escalation could spread the fighting along intercommunal lines throughout Darfur. El Fasher has been besieged by paramilitaries for months, and according to residents, most homes in the city's south have been completely destroyed. The UN Secretary General insisted that a ceasefire is urgently needed throughout the country as the humanitarian situation grows increasingly there on the ground. Since the conflict broke out between the Sudanese army and paramilitary rapid support forces in April last year, millions of residents have been displaced. We move to other parts of the world after this break. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Russia has declined to support a UN blueprint aimed at bringing the world's increasingly divided nations together to tackle 21st century challenges from climate change and artificial intelligence to escalating conflicts and increasing inequality and poverty. Speaking on Monday in New York at the Summit of the Future meeting, Russian Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Sergei Vashini said they would like to underscore that the summit outcome documents do not impose any obligations on the Russian Federation under provisions which did not achieve consensus. The 42-page Pact for the Future challenges leaders of the 193 UN member nations to return promises into real actions that makes a difference to the lives of the world's more than 8 billion people. The pact was adopted at the opening of the two-day Summit of the Future called by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who thanked leaders and diplomats for taking the first steps and unlocking the door to a better future. China's foreign minister has called on world powers to work together in tackling global challenges. Addressing a meeting of delegates at the Summit for the Future, Wang Yi stressed the importance of the UN Charter. He stressed the need to build an equal and orderly multipolar world and defend the UN-centered international system. The international order, based on the international law and the basic norms of international relations, underpinned by the purposes and principles of the UN Charter. He said all countries, regardless of their size and strength, are equal members of the international community. International affairs should be handled through consultations by all countries. He called on major power to lead by example. Israel struck Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon, and its Iran-backed foe attacked military facilities in northern Israel on Tuesday, increasing fears of a full-blown conflict after Lebanon suffered its deadliest day in decades. Israel's military said it hit dozens of Hezbollah's targets overnight, a day after carrying out airstrikes against the armed group, which Lebanese authorities said killed 558 people, including 50 children and 94 women, and wounded 1,835. Tens of thousands more have fled for safety. In the last hour, warplanes bombed Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon, including missile launchers, military buildings, and buildings where weapons were stored. Israeli army spokesperson Avichai Adrei posted on X. Hezbollah said it targeted several Israeli military targets overnight, including an explosive factory 60 kilometers into Israel, which it attacked with Fadi rockets around 4 a.m. It said it had also attacked the Megiddo airfield near the northern Israeli town of the Afula 3 separate times. Up next is business. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. And on business news, world stocks hit a record high on Tuesday after China unveiled stimulus measures to support its economy and stock market, sending Asian and European shares higher and triggering a bounce in commodity prices. People's Bank of China Governor Ban Gongsheng announced plans to lower borrowing costs and inject more funds into the economy, as well as to ease households' mortgage repayment burden. Pan also said China will roll out structural monetary policy tools for the first time to help stabilize capital markets. The move sent Chinese stock higher, with the Blue Chip Index and the Shanghai Composite Index surging more than 4% each. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index jumped 4.1% to a 4-month high. Global stock indexes rose on Monday as Federal Reserve policymakers said last week's largest interest rate cut was warranted, while the euro fell against the dollar as business activity readings of the eurozone economy disappointed. U.S. Treasury yields rose as bond investors continue to price out a near-term recession in the world's largest economy. U.S. policymakers' comments were in focus after the Fed last week began an easing policy with a half-point rate cut. 3 Fed policymakers said Monday that the cut was meant to try to sustain what they see as an emerging and healthy balance in the economy. Minneapolis Fed President Neil Kashikari called the cut the right decision, while Bank of Chicago President Austin Goolsbee said he expected many more rate cuts over the next year. Atlanta Federal Reserve President Raphael Bostic said the U.S. economy is close to normal rates of inflation and unemployment, and the Fed need monetary policy to normalize as well. Still to come, sports news. Please stay with us. Welcome back. And on sports news, Nigeria took another step towards picking Africa's second ticket to the 2025 ICC Under-19 Women's World Cup in Malaysia by upsetting bookmakers' favourite Zimbabwe in a hard-fought 1-wicket victory on Monday to book an early semi-final spot. Nigeria and Zimbabwe faced off on the back of their respective wins in the first round of matches, and the game proved nervy for the junior yellow greens. As it happened against Tanzania, Nigeria lost the toss and Zimbabwe elected to bat first, leaving the junior yellow greens to run rings around their batters with impressive bowling numbers. First, it was Peace Hussein who poached 3 wickets in 4 overs with 60 runs, setting the tone for a slow run of events for the Zims. Player of the match against Tanzania, Lilian Ude, then stepped up to afflict the Zimbabweans further with a 3-wicket haul to bring her tournament total to 8. It was anointed Akibe who sealed the first innings with another delivery that limited Zimbabwe's score to 77 runs for the loss of 10 wickets in 19.4 overs. Nigeria defender Benjamin Tanimu hopes to win a promotion to the Sky Bet Championship with a new club, Crawley Town. Tanimu linked up with the League One club from Tanzania outfit Singida Black Stars on transfer deadline day. The centre-back recently joined his new teammate after a delay caused by the issuance of an entry visa. The former Bendel Insurance player put pen to paper on a 3-year contract. Rafael Nadal has been included in Spain's squad for the Davis Cup Final 8 in November. The former world number 138 has been added alongside world number 3 Carlos Alcaraz, Roberto Bautista, Pablo Carango Busta, and Marcel Granollers. Nadal has not competed since the Paris 2024 Olympics, where the 22-time Grand Slam champion was beaten in the singles by Novak Djokovic and lost in the quarterfinals of the doubles after partnering Alcaraz. He withdrew from the US Open in August and last weekend's Laver Cup because of fitness concerns. 6-time champion Spain, whose most recent success came in 2019, faced Netherlands in the quarterfinals starting on 19 November. And that's the sport news on World Now. We move to the rest of the news after this break. Please stay with us.
is Hillstv. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Hillstv, Polka.
This is Hillstv.
Welcome back. And now to the rest of the news. A senior Treasury Department official is traveling to Colombia and Mexico this week, a U.S. Treasury Department official told newsmen, as the United States seeks to counter money laundering and the smuggling of fentanyl to the country. Acting Director of the Office of Foreign Asset Country, Lisa Paluconi's travel comes as the United States has sought to fight the U.S. fentanyl crisis, including through the imposition of sanctions. The official said Paluconi's meeting in Mexico City will touch on the lethal narcotic which is trafficked into the United States, often across the porous U.S.-Mexico border and easily manufactured from chemicals sourced in China. Fentanyl overdoses have surged to become the leading causes of death for Americans between the ages of 18 and 45, and over 107,000 Americans died from drug overdoses in 2023. The Treasury official said the department coordinates closely with the Mexican government on sanctions, including an action earlier this month that targeted a network it accused of generating millions of dollars benefiting cartel Jalisco Nueva, which it said is responsible for a significant proportion of fentanyl and other drugs trafficking to the United States. And that's world news. But before we go, here are the headlines again. We told you that FEC raises committee to reassess allowed dam orders. UN voices concern about reports of RSF assault on El Fasher, urges ceasefire across Sudan. Russia declines to support UN's pact for the future. China's foreign minister calls on world powers to work together in tackling global challenges. And in sport, Nigeria reached under-19 Cricket World Cup qualifier semis. Remember to visit us on Facebook at Hillstv Abuja, Instagram at Hillstv Abuja, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hillstv. I am Jessica Magaji Joseph. Thanks for watching.